All right. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to talk about the blueprint to brand you build before you leap. Now, I know that a lot is happening in the online space, especially around this holiday time, but I want to come on and just give you some tips as you move forward, either in your career, being a dualpreneur, or if you're thinking about going, full time as yourself. This is really about taking the steps to uh, focus before you get out there by yourself. Launch before you leap. Okay, so people can hear me. All right, so I'm going to go through. I do have a presentation for you to follow. And yeah, we're going to go from there. So, all right, so I do have a question for you. I want to know, like, are you feeling the year-end pressure of not hitting your mark for yourself, the one that you set probably in January and April or June or September, all of those benchmark quarterly goals? And are you still trying to put plans in place or setting up strategies to combat the holiday hustle? Or have you completely just thrown this year away? And if you're watching on the replay, it doesn't even have to be an actual year. It could just be a timeline that you have for yourself and you're like, you know what, this is really not working for me. So I'm just going to throw it away and start it over. But I'm here to encourage you to not just throw everything away. So if you've answered yes to any of those, if you felt similar feelings, just keep listening. Okay. And so I'm going to give you some tips and tools, but if you're new to me, if you're like, who is this person? Then hi, I am Vernita, or you'll see the Dr. V. I'm a doctorate degree, but I'm not that kind of a medical doctor, but I do have some credentials, but you can call me Vernita or Dr. V, and I am the brilliant solutionist, and I help with finding practical applications to complex situations. And right now, my mission, well, it has been for a minute, but I'm sharing it more frequently, that my mission is to bankrupt 1 billion burial plots and helping brilliant people move from resume to career, from resume to reinvention to remarkable, so that really you're living your life poured out above ground before you go underground. A whole backstory, just very quickly, that I did not share before, where it came from. If you're not able to watch the resume to reinvention virtual expo that I did, because I took it down, but I'll put it back up. But it's really about seeing so many people who have all of these gifted ideas, mainly with my mother and my grandfather. They both passed away in 2012. So many ideas that they never carried out, never carried through. And I was like, such a waste, right? And I believe that the graveyard is the richest place on earth because so many people go to their graves with, $1 million, $1 billion ideas, business, products, services, poetry, paintings, whatever it is, that gift or talent that you've been born with, that is not executed at the level of where it should be, or you just never get started. So I found myself going down that path and I was like, wait, I don't want to end up like that. So I've been on the mission to make sure I help as many people as possible to stir up the gift that's inside, but not just stir it up to say, oh, it would be great, but to actually implement and do those things. And it really is not, a lot of times it's not like a skill set problem. It is a mind shifting problem. And then sometimes it could be a skill set or tool set, but we have to fix what's going on up here so that we can put it in our hands and give it to the people who desire that. All right, so the current pathway that I do this is by helping industry experts and leaders like yourself become brilliant think influencers. Now, I didn't come up with that term, but I do like it because it's really about an influential thought leader. We have a lot of thought leaders, but are they really influential? Then we have a lot of influential people, but are they really thought leaders? And the people that I've worked with who come from the professional space, the background space of being in corporate, just really highly educated, highly trained in some capacity, whether that's traditional or not, they have all of that where they should be the forefront of people putting messages out there, sharing their thoughts, opinions, and ideas, but they're not. So I do that by helping you pick your own brain because you have a lot going on up there, managing the messiness in your mind that's keeping you from organizing your thoughts and helping you to systematize your knowledge into a unique framework or curriculum so you can get the return on investment from your experiences and your expertise, whether that's uploading your career path or through a business venture. So I'm not telling everybody out there to go quit your job and work full time and be an entrepreneur. No, I'm not telling you to do that at all because there are some things that you need to put in place before you do that. Now, some of you may jump ship and it has worked for you, but I've come across several hundred people, and I know it's thousands and potentially millions of people who if that does not work for them. So that's where I step in. So I am thrilled to guide you from your past experiences, from my past experiences and missteps and mistakes. Like you will hear a lot of mistakes that I share with you. All good, all good. And it is not just about creating a side hustle and side hustle. That's where I made the mistake. Well, let me just do this on the side. And even if you do something on the side, you cannot have the mentality of, oh, this is just something I do on the side, because you're going to start showing up and operating like that. So you can't do that. And then really how to build a sustainable ecosystem that aligns with your goals, skills, and vision. And I know this firsthand because I personally invested between my professional education and personal growth and business development about $300,000 of trying to figure this all out. And I've gotten some great, systems and support and things put in place. But I understand the importance of how transformation truly works from the inside out to get those tangible results that you're looking for, and how you integrate those that right skill set and strategies that align with you. So, what you're going to learn from me today in this little short amount of time is how myself and some of the clients we have unlocked new levels of income, impact, and influence by following strategic and holistic approach. So not just a bunch of stuff thrown together. I learned, my whole journey has been learning things, and I was like, wait a minute, it has to be a better way, right? And that's what I'm going to share some of that with you. So I'm using my experience as a former college professor, if you did not know that, and I'm sharing with you how those skills are transferable, whether it's entrepreneurship, or dual preneurship, and or you just want to be a behind the scenes business owner. All of that is relevant. If you're here and you're in any of those categories, it will benefit you to keep on listening. And I'm going to give you a glimpse into how you can achieve the same thing. All right. So if you are new to me, you want to learn a little bit more about me, you can go to my YouTube channel and watch the Opulent Thing for Opulent Opportunities series that is happening over there, or you can watch any of the playlists, or if you're on LinkedIn, scroll down and in the featured section and see what is on and popping right now. And that's how you can learn more about me. All right. So what are we going to talk about very quickly? This is not going to take long. You can kind of see the number of slides that we have. It's not a lot, but we are going to, we're going to talk about why you may feel burned out. We're going to talk about some common mistakes or missteps. And I'm going to give you 2.2 tips. I call them value snapshots. So 2 examples and 2 tips to go along with that. I'm going to share practical tips, real life applications, and then of course a special invitation that I am going to share with you as well. So many professionals leap into entrepreneurship, and I am talking about myself as well, or having a side business without first creating a cohesive content ecosystem, or worse, without a clear identity as a business owner or thought leader. So this may sound like you jump from coach to coach, program to program, trying to piece together a puzzle and you don't have all of the pieces, and then you wonder why you're feeling burnt out or overwhelmed and eventually frustrated. And like I said before, I know how that feels because that was me. And I was my first case study, and that goes into my background, with my doctorate degree, like learning how to research. But I was like, I have to figure this out. So I became my first case study. And I noticed this trend when I work with other high level coaches, first as a client and then as a student, and then joining their teams and working with the people that they worked with. So I got different layers of experience and collected different layers of data to understand that this wasn't just me, this was an ongoing thing. And I was like, I have to find a solution to this problem. And one thing that solidified this was I had the opportunity to working with the coach at an event as one of their coaches, and I coached about 35 people in 3 days. And as I was working with them, I wasn't just helping them through, trying to go into that particular program. I was collecting data and listening to the questions they were asking me, because it was my job to help them make a decision for a clear yes or a clear no. But then I was wondering, well, why are they having these types of questions if a solution is already presented in front of them? And this is no judgment against that coach that I was on the team with. It was an issue that I found that I wasn't just having. Sometimes just having something in isolation and signing up for something in isolation does not work for everyone. And if you've been like me, you kind of need a holistic approach because that's where you've been trained, whether that's in high school, going to college, or some kind of pathway where they showed you the overall vision and then laid out the steps. Now, for some of you, you may not need that. You just may need that one thing and it takes you on to, where you need to go. But if you've been that person, like I keep signing up for stuff, but it's still not clicking, it's because you need a different approach and there are certain things that are missing from you. So you do need sometimes it's not so much that you need to know every single step before you start. You just need to say like, how does all of this work? You may not get to point Z, but you just need to know kind of like where am I landing right now? It may take me a while to go through all the steps, but at least show me where I am landing, and that's where I come in. So just very quickly before I jump into the two tips I want to give you, an example of that is, you may go just for working with a coach for speaking. And then you're like, okay, I'm a speaker. I've been on these stages, but now someone's talking to me about like how to work with me. What are my next steps? And you're like, I was just out here speaking. I don't know what to do with that. And then you learn that, well, you need to have a keynote talk, which is different from a presentation. If you come from my world, you know how to give presentations, but you don't know how to do a keynote talk. And then you're like, well, what's the point of doing that? Well, how do I need to build that? Then how do I follow up with that? Then how do I keep going? So it's a whole lot that goes with it versus just, go ahead and be a dynamic speaker. And that's just one example that I want to give you about, even though it could be I want to be this well-known speaker, but there are still parts of that that's missing. And if you're not aware of that, then you're going to get that overwhelmed feeling and burnt out and think that, something isn't for you. All right. So what do I want to talk about now? In a previous one, and I'll link it down below, but I talked about two tips. So one, before we get into that, the importance of having an engaged community and building loyal followers. Sometimes I don't like the term followers because it's not so much like, do everything I do, but you do want to have that community, that audience, the people who will want to listen to you, give you feedback, learn from you, and things like that, and also pour into you. You can go both ways, right? So you do want to have a group of people who actually listen to what you have to say. And that is essential for any type of thought leader. So whether you want to have an actual business or not, if you're out here on a platform or if you're still working in your career, you still want people to listen to you. You wouldn't have chosen certain career paths if that wasn't the case, right? So even before you jump out there, you want to get this going. And it's not just about likes, because you can have a lot of people liking you or clicking the follow button, but if they're not engaging with you, that is something that you want to work on. And that's something that I did not do so great, right? So we need to know that an engaged community is essential for growth, but true engagement isn't just about likes and comments. It's about building relationships, right? So in the upcoming workshop that I have, even moving forward and some of the things that I have put in place, we'll talk about how to do some of those strategies. And those are things that I had to learn from trial and error. Those are the things that I wish I would have known before I started jumping up out here in these social media streets, or even when I was traveling across the United States and sometimes internationally, speaking on all of these stages and having all these experiences. The focus should have been on community engagement for getting a level of followers, but more so engaging with them. And so you do want to have that regardless. I don't sit here and say, well, I'm not trying to build a business yet, or I'll think about that when I want to go build a business. You need that in your career as well. Something that I wish I would have done, and this is a tip, start now. I used to go speak maybe 2, 3 times a month as a college professor, and I did that for a few years. And there are different conferences you start going to and different events you start having. And they're different, but every year is kind of the same thing. And you'll get a group of people that always come. And I noticed that every time I would do certain presentations, I would have a certain group of people following me. So I had a following at that time, but I just didn't understand. It was just like, oh, it was just something for me to do. It was a line on 𝐉𝐸𝐷a, and that wasn't the smartest move to make. So if you're doing that right now, start collecting those names and email addresses and those phone numbers, not so much to sell them if you're a consultant or sell them a product or anything like that, but to just start engaging with them. Because whenever you decide to shift or jump ship or whatever you decide to do, you want to have a wave of people that are like, yeah, I like you as a person. I am interested in whatever you have to say. So that is something I wish I would have done earlier versus thinking that I had to start from scratch in when I started taking entrepreneurship seriously. So wherever you are right now, I don't care if you are talking about what you do on the weekends. It may not have anything to do with your career or anything like that. There's a community of people and an audience for any and everything. Just go look on YouTube. There are people out here. I confession, I watch ASMR, but paper ASMR or different types of ASMR. There are people out here that just like to watch baking channel, bread channels, people who just like watching people peel an egg. I, so just start building that right now and don't even think about, I got to have all of these likes and things like that. Nope, just start engaging with people that already engage with you. So that is something I did not do early on, even though looking back, I still had a decent sized following when I was talking about math, right? So learn from my mistake and misstep and start building your community right now. And that is something that I will talk with you in the workshop. If you decide to join, we'll go deeper into that and having actual strategies for that. All right, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is systematizing your business for sustainable growth. Now, when I say business, all of this is about being the business of you first. A mistake before I get into this is thinking that what is really about changing your perspective of what a business is. And the first thing that I've learned over these last 4 to 5 years, working with some high level entrepreneurs, coaches, mentors, strategists, whatever, and engaging with their community is people don't really talk about what business is. And then the ones who are at the super high level, they talk, all of the problems come from you being the business of you, because actual business building itself is not, it's challenging, but it's not like rocket science, right? It's not like hard. You do have to do like some hard work, and there's some things that you have to do and a new skill set, tool sets that you have to learn. But what business boils down to is having a group of a system of assets that you can literally make repeatable, be able to duplicate it and pass that process on to someone else so that they can do it and they pay you for it. So that's just simplifying what business is, but we've made it into this whole complex thing, and it's not it. What's the complex variable is you. So I said all that to say is don't just tune out business because you're like, well, I'm not an entrepreneur. You can do these same business strategies in your actual career. And that looking back on it, those are things that I actually did, which is why my appreciation for what business is has shifted dramatically once I got that understanding of what a true business is. I was like, oh my gosh, I was doing a lot of these systems when I was working, even as a K-12 teacher, but mostly when I was a college professor. I noticed that and I was like, wow, had I known how to put those things together, I wouldn't have had to have a lot of this trial and error, but it's okay because now I can pass that knowledge on to you. So it's not enough to work hard. We know that. So we need systems to work for us. So in the workshop that is coming up, and some of the things that I do have for you below, I'll show you how to build a system that brings you peace, clarity, and long-term growth. And when I say long-term growth, it's really about long-term growth in understanding yourself so that you can up level, whether it's your career, your side hustle, which you're not going to look at as a side hustle anymore, or when you're ready to step into full-time entrepreneurship. There are people who I've worked with who are already full-time entrepreneurs and they still don't understand a system for growth and scaling. And I was like, well, you're technically been in entrepreneurship longer than I have, and you're still coming to me, but they're not coming to me for actual like business strategies. They're coming for overall systems on how to implement those into their business, right? So I just find it very unique once you understand that first you have to learn how to systematize yourself and your thinking, and then you can transfer those skills into any other venture. And that does bring clarity, peace, and long-term growth. All right, so part of that is with time optimization and foundational planning, whether that's career trajectory or business trajectory, or how to have a full life. And years ago, and I'm bringing that back in now, I used to talk about 9 areas of life, but I've since learned and expanded that to about 15 to 18 areas of your life that you could actually systematize and optimize so that you're not just living just two worlds, like my personal and professional. You can live this integrated life. All right. So I already kind of shared a tip, but I'll go a little deeper into the tip into why you want to focus on systematizing and having sustainable growth, whether that's in business or in your career. Is what I found is that a lot of people talk about when they come into entrepreneurship and want to start a business, hey, how to have your first $10,000 month or how to grow a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure business. And it's always the dollar amount. And don't get me wrong, if you're in business, you do have to talk about money. So there's no running away from money. You can't just say, oh, I just want to be out here and help people. Well, then do stuff for free. If only do stuff for free and don't say that you're in business, right? And even nonprofits have, they generate income. But it's not so much of you focusing on just the money because honestly, and if you're honest with yourself, it's not that hard to just go make money. Looking back on it, first I was like, oh my gosh, will nobody buy from me, sell from me? But it's like I've sold hair services because I can do hair on the side, but that's not something I advertise. But I've sold books, I sold coaching packages, I've sold e-commerce products, I sold fintech, which is financial technology. So there's ways that you can make money, right? And do things on the side to have a $10,000 a month. But if you're just doing things, throwing spaghetti at the wall, yeah, the spaghetti will be up there for a little bit, but it doesn't stick and eventually it will fall. So for those of you who are just jumping into business and you're running to the people who are promising, I can get you your first $10,000 a month. I'm not saying that they can't, but I want you to have a different perspective and understanding that do you just want to have a $10,000 a month or do you want to have a thing that's sustainable and something that's systematic for you to follow so it's not all of this, hustle and grind because you can hustle and grind your way to 10,000, even $100,000 a month. I've seen people do that. I was on a coaching call not too long ago where this person had built, I think it was a $3 million a year company, and they were still like, I have no idea what to do. I don't have anything in place. I just so happened to, people, be in a place where I have this and I was already talking to a lot of people. They already had a community of people before they transitioned. So it was just like people just coming and buying whatever they had. But they were like, I have no idea how to make this sustainable. It is driving me crazy. I don't have anything in place. So don't be fooled by the people who are saying that they have made all of this money and they can help you do that, but they are not telling you the full story. Some of them are, a lot of them are not. So you need to understand systems of yourself first and get your life in order, even looking at the systems that you've already created for your career. And then if you are going to transition or jump ship, have those things in place before you do. Now, some people do it, but if you know that you're not that person, I was not that person, right? So I just want to give you that tip. Make sure you have some things in place because when you do have those systems in place, then you can start focusing on your highest level of value activity or your highest income generating activity without trying to scramble and hustle and piecemeal things together. All right. So next, I want to share with you, this is not just about me. I do want to share with you with someone that I did work with. This was Sarah, and you can actually go watch one of our sessions on my YouTube channel. I think it's in Brilliant Power Hour or something like that, but it's on my YouTube channel because she allowed me to record our session, and she's was struggling trying to figure out what to do. Now this is the interesting, we were in a similar, it wasn't even a program, but we were in a similar community and we did start like an e-commerce thing together, but we were like, this is not for us, right? So then I went on and she's like, I've been watching you and it seems like you just have it all together. And I was like, no, not like that. But I was like, I had to stop myself because there was something that she saw. I was further ahead of her than where she was. So I was like, you know what? Let me stop just brushing off. And I got on a call with her and I said, what can I do to support you? And so she was just all over the place trying to figure out what she wanted to do, what her niche was, and how does she want to help people? Who are the people community that she wants to build, right? But she was so focused on, oh, I got to make this a business, or I got to write my book, or I got to do this course. And I was like, whoa, chill out. First of all, you have to own the fact that you want to help new moms with their newborn babies and help them sleep, right? And how she had done that. People were already coming to her about, how are you so good with the kids? Or, I called you and I had this issue, or you just came over and you got my baby to sleep. How are you able to do that? And she had like, a couple dozen people already coming to her saying that. I was like, hey, how about you do that? She's like, well, I've always wanted to. So we walked through what was stopping her. I won't go into detail because you can go watch it, but we walked through some things and then learn how and then helped her, put some things in the system and prioritize some things so she can do her next now. So she realized that she wanted to focus on newborn moms and help their babies sleep. She realized that she already had a system in place for what she did with her own kids. See, and so I helped her like go back and look at that. What are the notes that you were taking? Like, what were you doing? Put that into a system, and then you can offshoot into you if you want to build a curriculum or if you want to go ahead and write this book. But now you have options. So she was like, "Oh my gosh!" So it was a lot of going on in her head, and all I did was just ask her those questions and take it out of her head, put it in front of her, and then put it into a system that she can follow. And then, when she was ready, then we can go further, lay this out, and then you can start, charging those people who were just calling you, right? So you're just not giving out, you're not just out here working for free, right? So anyway, so that's just a real life application of one, she already had a community, but now to dig deeper into that, she was overlooking. She was like, well, I'm posting out on social media, and this is a mistake that I did, and this is why I was able to help her. You're just out here posting things, which is okay, great. Like you do want that social proof. You do want that. But if there are people that are engaging with you right now, start building those relationships with them. I don't care if it's 5, 10, 15 people. And if they're coming to you, start working with them and then say, hey, let me walk you through this and maybe we can work together and things like that. Sometimes you can do it for free and get that momentum going, and then you can start charging. But engage with the people that are in front of you now, and then we put a system in place. So she was a perfect example of how that worked, and you can go watch that full. I think it's like 50 minutes. You can go watch it on my YouTube channel. So I just want to give you a practical example of that. So I'm sharing all of that with you is because, yes, around this time, early Black Friday, you're going into the holiday season, and there are workshops that I offer. So one of them is tomorrow. But the great thing is, well, tomorrow and Thursday. The great thing is during a holiday special, the investment is significantly lower than what it would have been, but it's cool. That's why it's early Black Friday. And then so coming to that workshop, we have a few of them. So if you can't make it Wednesday or Thursday for the 20th or 21st, we have a few that are coming up in December as well. But I would encourage you to look into this now. And it's like, let me purchase now and then attend later so that you can just get like a little snapshot of what to expect so that you don't go into 2025, clueless, or before you jump into any, long-term program and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if this is for me. It's a 2-day commitment. It's not even an all-day commitment. It's a couple of hours, right? So you can kind of get a feel and lay a foundation because that may just be what you need before you go into your next your whatever you decide to do next, your next venture, I should say. So holiday advisory or mentor, I'm a little cornball. I wanted to do like holiday ham, like just to be funny, but then the acronym holiday advisory and mentorship, I was like, I'm saying holiday twice. So during this Black Friday special, I had a few options for you to build the blueprint of you before you jump ship. And again, this is really setting the foundation of some of the things that you can do on your own right now, some things that you can listen to. For some of you, it is a mind shift tweak that you need to hear happen. Take some coach yourself on certain things. And then for some of you, you may need to engage in a workshop where it's hands-on, and some of you may want to take the higher step, but there are 4 different levels for you to do that. I won't go into too much detail on that, but I just want to share with you those 2 tips and then offer you a way of taking the next step. So you can use the QR code here for the workshop. You'll see the dates that are here on the screen. Excuse me. Or if you go to I don't know if I can move that, but if you go to drvernitaglenn-white.com/holiday dash advisory dash mentorship, you'll see four different levels, or I guess packages for early Black Friday, and they range in levels for you to get the support that you need, desire, don't even think you need. But I do invite you to just even go take a look. Taking a look is free. Go look. And instead of trying to, run out to the stores and buy the latest, whatever thing it is, how about you do invest in yourself and don't spend another year stack, stuck, stagnant, or just being stubborn about taking your next step. So I know I'm ending this very quickly because like I said, I'll put the link for the previous one. It's similar, but the two tips are different. But you can sit here and say, great, I already know that I need to go engage with the community that I already have, start building the community that I already have, and start putting some systems in place or focusing on systems that I already have and transferring them into different areas of my life. If you're able to do that on your own, then great. I'm glad you picked up on something. Still let me know down below if if those two tips resonated with you and you're going to take action on that. And this could be it for you. And I applaud you. And that's why I want you to hear something for you to go take action. Or if you're like, you know what, I'll decide on what I want to do later. Let me go look at some other things on the Black Friday special from HAM, Holiday Advisory and Mentorship, and see kind of where I can get some additional support, ranging from just getting booking the training course versus, working into an accelerated experience with me. You can go look at that. And that was part of that QR code, and being attending the workshop, that is part of there on there. But attending the workshop, you get like extra things, involved with that. But go check that out so you can see it. And then if you want the fast action, then I'll tell you to go to the platinum level. Once you see what's happening with the holiday advisory mentorship, go to the platinum level if that best suits you, because we'll be starting that in December. So within a few weeks. All right. So again, thank you so much. Let me go back. If you want to see that QR code, there it is. Or you can go to drvernitaglenn-white.com/holiday-advisory-mentorship. These are your three options. And then we can always stay connected, whether that's on LinkedIn, YouTube, or any other social platforms. If you want to have a conversation with me, I do invite you to book a call. Give yourself to book a call and be like, there's a lot happening. Help me to make a decision, because it's not just about you working directly with me. I might just say, hey, you may need to go over here first. So give yourself the gift of scheduling a call. And again, there's the information again to take advantage of the early Black Friday offers, because those investment prices will not be the same. Even with the Christmas specials coming up, it still won't be as good as Black Friday. And this is not just to scare you, but you can take a screenshot when you go to that page and check the prices. And then if you come back again and later on in December, you may see the same offers, but not the same prices, because this is why during this time it's a season of giving. But if you take advantage of what's presented early, then you reap the most benefits, because you have more time to execute. All right. So that's all I want to share with you. Let me know again what tips resonated with you. And I do celebrate you for you watching this, staying to the end. And I really do want you to think about building your ship before you jump ship. Don't just go out there and say, oh, I'm going to quit my job. I hate my job, or I hate my business. Some of you want to quit what you've already started. And use wise counseling, use discernment, use wisdom, because if it's truly not working for you, then great. But really look at, like, have I been doing some of the things that have I not been doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing? And this is why it's not working. And again, same goes for you if you're in your career. Even if you're not thinking about doing shifting into full-time business, you are still, I believe you're still responsible, especially if you're at a high level role, you're still responsible for being a thoughtful, an influential thought leader or thinkfluencer. And these are some of the things that you can still put in place to make sure that you strengthen your leadership and all the things surrounding you, and all of those great things, because you are yourself a business first. Even if you don't go down to the whatever state you're in and fill out documents, you are still a business of YOU. All right. So thank you so much. And I will see you all on the other side in one of those levels. All right. Bye.